There. I wanted to welcome everyone in today. I am Dr. Jana Austin. I own Allison Audiology. And as you know, as you were invited for a few weeks now, we have had a special event on the books that we held yesterday. We have a special guest with us, Dr. Katie Crane, who is an audiologist here in the Houston area. She is with ReSound. She is their senior field trainer. And yesterday we had an online webinar or course that we hosted. And we talked all about the new ReSound Vivia. We talked about their new product called the Savi as well. However, I forgot to hit the record button, and we wanted to send this out so that we could share all of the latest hearing aid updates and information, what other patients are saying. And so we wanted to kind of talk again so that we could get this information out there to you guys. So without further ado, I wanted to welcome Dr. Katie Crane to our call again today. Thank you for Groundhog Day and a little deja vu. So that we can talk all things resound hearing and what's new in the hearing industry and how our patients can be helped and what they can experience. So, Katie, how about will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Austin. I'm glad to hop on again and luckily had a lot of time availability to do this. Maybe yesterday was like a dress rehearsal and today,
Exactly.
we get to do it all over again. Yeah, I have been an audiologist for quite some time. I've been in the Houston area practicing for many years, and I joined Resound about 4 years ago as one of the field trainers for South Texas, East Texas, and Southern Louisiana. So I travel all over. I get to share about technology with audiologists in that kind of smaller area of the country, and just help people with inquisitive minds get to know our products and really dig in on best practices for fitting and recommendations. And it's just a great job to have, and I love it.
Yeah, wonderful. We're so thankful that you could join us not only yesterday, but today as well. The purpose of the call that we're doing, Resound has some new technology that's been out for a couple of months now, a handful of months. It's, I would say, really changed in our practice anyway, the way that patients are experiencing their hearing aid fittings and sound quality, especially in background noise. So we wanted to bring Katie on board to tell us a little bit more about the technology and how it's working, why it's different, and what has made the Vivia and the Savvy as well so great. And that way we can answer questions and things after you're watching this if you'd like to reach out so that we can get those answers to you and have you hopefully listen to the technology and really experience the difference for yourself. Katie, how long has the Vivia been out?
So we launched ReSound Vivia in Savvy at the end of February of this year, and it's been just a really exciting time. I've been through a couple of what we call launches at ReSound for several years now, and I've never seen anything like this, whether it was in my practice as an audiologist in the clinical setting or at ReSound, kind of being on this end. We've never had a launch quite as exciting as this because we really do have an amazing product that does help patients, like you said, hearing and noise, but even beyond that, just trying to gain back that feeling of normal hearing, of effortless hearing, and just kind of getting back to what we remember hearing when we first started hearing years and years
Yes.
ago.
Yeah. What would you say about this product, especially the Vivia? We'll talk about that first. What do you feel like is different about the Vivia than what we've had in products before?
Oh, such a good question. So, one of the biggest things that is new to Vivia and new to Resound is our use of artificial intelligence or AI. I know it's a big buzzword in the industry, the hearing industry, as well as just in general in the world right now, and how we're going to utilize it. Resound has decided to utilize this in a really specific way to ensure that we're denoising the environment to just create that effortless listening. When that noise gets really loud and distracting for people, helping that speech just kind of pop out and make it easier to hear. And what I really like most is that we're not forcing anyone into that whenever they don't need it. So we maintain that natural hearing and
Mhm.
we have access to that denoising feature whenever you are ready to call on it, whenever you want it, you need it, whenever you're ready to enhance that hearing.
Yeah. And I think this goes back. to me, so one of the bigger examples that we talked about and I shared yesterday, when we first got the product, we like to listen to the technology, compare it to what was previously out there. And that way too, I feel like we can better talk to patients and explain what we've experienced, what we noticed, what we think the highlights are, aside from just the marketing materials. So when we got the Vivia, we actually, as a team, went to a busy Mexican restaurant over in Town and Country. And it was, I mean, as you guys know, if you're when you're in the Houston area, that some of those restaurants are so incredibly noisy. The experiment that we did to really try it, we had our very first program in the settings like you would normally have when you're wearing the hearing aids. Then we had a setting where we turned the features off. So we were hearing everything around us. There wasn't any type of enhancement other than volume for the prescription. But then we added the third program. We named it what Dr. Crane was just talking about with the deep neural network is the was that how you would really describe that third program that we did?
Yeah.
So that way we had that denoising effect in. And I have to say, I have never been in a restaurant that's that loud to where when I hit that button or I changed it on my phone in the app, it's like the noise just kind of fizzled away and I could hear everyone at our table. I mean, I knew that people were behind us. It was busy lunch hour, but I could just focus right here, right in front of me, exactly where I wanted to be with our table of six or seven, and actually focus and have a conversation without feeling like I was straining or leaning over to really see who or what they were saying at the other end of the table. And I've just never had that experience before. And I was completely blown away. I mean, I know we see the marketing material, but to actually try it and experience it, I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. And you're right. We always see the marketing material, but it's so nice to be able to just try it for yourself.
Yeah.
When I was practicing, I always ask patients to do the same thing. Like, try the thing for yourself, put it in your ears and try it in your environments and really give it a good shot. Because I can sit here and talk about it all day. But this time I really feel like I could talk about it all day. And it means all the things. Like it really is everything that we've been saying that it is. And even as someone who currently has normal hearing, for me to be able to hear the difference when we
Yeah.
switch into those programs, I remember in practice, I wasn't always sure if my patients were going to be able to hear that difference between their normal program and say their restaurant program. And I was always like, let's give it a shot. Let's see how we do. And this time I would just feel so confident to say, you will hear the difference. You're going to hear that noise back off and hear that speech pop out. And
Yeah.
it's so impactful.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting too how whenever we say denoising, I think it's great because it doesn't make it sound artificial. It just seems as though the noise just kind of dissipates. So I think denoising sounds great rather than I know in the past we talk about reducing background noise, and I feel like that's a great description because it just sort of pushes the background noise down and lets that speech pop up. But with this, I feel like the background noise, it truly took it out of the scenario. I mean, look, I don't want to paint the picture that it's gone completely, but it's so minimal that it's not as bothersome any longer, I don't feel like. So I think using that phrase denoising in this, I think is very much appropriate. So I
Yeah.
think, kudos to you if that was your your phrase.
I wish it was, but I heard it and now it's stuck with me forever. It's a good
Yeah,
one.
no, I think that's great. And so with all of this technology, as it changes and progresses, one of the questions we get a lot of our patients have the rechargeable battery. And I know this right now to have that denoising feature at this point in time is only in that rechargeable battery. But tell me, does this use battery faster? I mean, the patients that we haven't seen any decline, but from a specification standpoint, tell me a little bit more about that.
That's such a good question. And especially living in Houston, we're always concerned about power and like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, we in that rechargeable option, which is great because it's still incredibly small. It's the smallest hearing aid in the market right now. You're not going to have any trade-offs, even when using the that denoising program or that hear and noise program, because like I had said earlier, it's something that you're going to want to access when the environment is difficult for you. We're not forcing you into it all of the time.
Right.
We want to keep those environments as natural for you as possible and give you those access to sounds so that you can decide what you want to listen to. So we're not expecting you to be in that hear and noise or that second program all the time. And so we will expect, up to 30 hours on a single charge. And
Okay.
if you're going to stream for half of your day, which is a lot, but I know I'm an avid user of Audible. I love to read.
Yeah.
I love to like listen to the book that I'm currently reading just so I can get through it faster. I can never put them down. So even if you're in podcasts or books or music, even if you're streaming 50% of your day, we'll still get you a full 20 hours of battery life. So we're going to call it all day battery life.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And I did want to point out too, even though we're saying that these new features are only available in the rechargeable option, I know you guys, we touched yesterday on even on the traditional battery side, there are a few enhancements that you guys have done, even though it's not the same technology, there is some improvement that you guys have done. Can you tell us a little bit about that, about those changes and
Oh,
updates?
absolutely. I mean, even if we think about if even if you got hearing aids like a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, you're going to
Yeah.
notice huge improvements anyway. But even just looking at the improvements that we've made from our previous generation of hearing aids, so just the last launch that we had, that hear and noise program, we've really boosted we call it a beam former, but it's really how, and I'm going to use my hand signals here and start to feel like a little air traffic control, but it's
No,
really
I
going to
talk with my
help
hands too.
you.
I can't help it. Yeah.
I love it. I was trying to sit on my hands, but it's really going to help you like focus in and improve what we call that signal to noise ratio, which is exactly what it sounds like, bringing that signal or that speech sound up over the noise.
Yeah.
So there is that big improvement there too, and there's just all kinds of hardware improvements and making sure that we are finding ways to keep the hearing aids cleaner and lasting longer, smaller size, just so much stuff that even if you want that zinc air battery, your 312 or your 13
Yeah.
battery, and you, like me, have some trust issues with the power in Houston, it's a real thing. And while we
It
do
certainly
have
can be.
yeah, it can be. While we do have the power bank that you can use in the charger, if you like those regular batteries, no problem there. You're still going to notice a huge improvement with these.
Yeah. And I wanted to touch on too, you mentioned streaming earlier. And so for those who aren't familiar with that, if you don't have any of the accessories that work along with your hearing aids, those are still available with the new Vivia product, as well as the Savi line as well, which we'll touch on here in just a moment. But those accessories can really take your hearing aids, I feel like, and extend that experience. So if you have someone who, if you're in board meetings, for example, and they're at a longer table and sometimes you have a little bit of difficulty hearing that length away because it's further than the microphones can really reach. We have an external microphone someone can wear, the companion mic, which I think is great. I love it for kids, for all sorts of different purposes. If you're in the car and you're facing the windshield, you can clip it on someone in the back, hear them better. There's a ton of real world examples that we could give. So if that's something that piques your interest, we're happy to have you in the office and talk about that and how it can address your specific needs. Same thing with the TV streamer, which I also am a huge proponent of. That's going to be a device that we can connect to your television so that your shows can now stream to your hearing aids. So if, like Dr. Crane said, if that's something where you like to stream your Audible, anything like that, and you like the sound coming through the hearing devices, then we can have your television stream just the same. So we can do that with the TV accessory. And in some cases, there's new technology called Auracast where we can do that without the TV streamer, but it really just depends upon the setup and the TV that you have. So again, we can talk about that more on a one-on-one individual basis for what you have and then we can make all that work for you. So is there anything that you kind of want to touch on that I said, fill in any gaps or anything like
Yeah,
that?
no, you did such a good job of like hitting all
Thanks.
the
Like it's like
all
I
the
talk about
hits.
these. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you do this every
Yeah.
day. No, you absolutely hit all the things, and I think the biggest takeaway here is that with these ReSound hearing aids, especially the new ones, is that we're not leaving anyone behind. If you have
Right.
the older accessories, if you've got an iPhone, if you've got an Android, like we're
Yep.
still rocking and rolling there. And we're moving forward at the same time with new Bluetooth protocols, Orcast, all those things. So whatever your particular needs are, I can't think of anybody better than the providers over at Allison Audiology to walk you through those options.
Oh, thanks. And one thing that I feel like we talked about yesterday that my team is really excited about, we keep talking about our Houston weather. We talk about our power and trust issues with our power grid and things. And if you've lived here a while, you know what we're referring to. But also the humidity that we have. I mean, it is. at some point in time, I mean, like it will get unbearable this summer, but that's just our lifestyle here and we're accustomed to it. But if you've been a hearing aid wearer for long and knowing that the microphones sit behind the ear here with this particular style, sometimes this moisture, I mean, it can really just wreak havoc on a lot of our electronics. So thinking about where the microphones are sitting as we perspire, things like that, there's actually now new filters that we have to help your microphones. It's a more of a preventative measure. It's not something that you have to change at home. It doesn't create any challenges for you, but it's nice for us as your providers knowing that we can just change those out when you're in for your routine cleanings and that these are really built more robust in our opinion for environments like we live in Houston. So if you've had moisture problems before or concerns about moisture, this technology really is again more future proof and that we can make these devices last longer and more reliable for you with those filter changes.
Yep, absolutely. And we didn't have to compromise on the size of the hearing aid to bring
Yeah,
that. It's just that extra added level of protection so that, when you're just doing your normal, like, I'm going to wipe my hearing aid down at the end of the day, you don't have to like get in there with some sort of specialized tool. It's
right.
just cleanly wipe it, just like you would, your set of glasses. I'm sitting here wearing glasses thinking I could probably clean these glasses already for my day. And then you're absolutely right. Yeah, the team over at Allison Audiology can take care of like all the fine details of getting it cleaned, but it's going to help save these from going in for repair as often.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And I know we're talking a lot about the Vivia line because it is the one that has the newer technology in terms of the AI and the deep neural network. Can you tell us when we talk about AI, I know some of us kind of get a little bit of that ick feel because AI can it's just kind of overwhelming, sometimes a little intrusive. Can you tell us about what it's doing or how it's working and also what it's not doing? So,
For sure. Yeah. I
yeah.
remember when I updated my iPhone and it's like, you now have AI. I was like, "Ugh, I don't know if that's a thing I
Yeah.
want.
I don't know if I'm ready for
I
that.
don't know if I'm ready. No, so these hearing aids, so yes, the Vivia does have, we're calling it AI because it is AI. It's a deep neural network. It's really just how we have trained the chip. All of that research and development into how to denoise the system is trained onto the chip utilizing a form of AI called deep neural network.
Yes,
Um,
okay.
and what I will also say is really AI is not new to ReSound at all. We've actually
Great.
had AI in our hearing aids for a long time, and just the way we classify or select or know what types of environments that you're in, so the hearing aids can automatically adjust. And that's been around for so long that it's actually in our entire line of hearing aids from Vivia down to Savi and everything in between. So it's all in that kind of decision making process. So that being said, because that's all burned onto the chip, it's not actually actively learning
Yeah.
anything from you. It's not going to know what your Starbucks order is, or that you like to place your Amazon orders every Tuesday, or it's going to hear that you're talking about your trip to Scotland coming up, and now you're going to get all these ads or like start
Good.
hearing
Okay.
anything. None of that is happening. It's all burned into the chip. It's done, and the hearing aids aren't listening to you.
Okay. So it's more of like it just sounds silly, but it in a way it's like a pre-recorded AI. It's not an active AI where, like you just said, it's not listening and then transmitting those conversations somewhere. It's just a way that the hearing aid or the computer in the hearing aid has already been trained to process different sounds.
Absolutely, you got it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's great because sometimes AI can be just a thought behind it is a little bit much. So,
Yeah.
and then let's say too, we have patients who feel like, technology has changed a lot. Maybe they're not necessarily in a position to feel like the Vivia is right for them. Can you tell us a little bit about the Savvy line that you have? Because right now I feel like it's a great time if you're considering new technology since everything at Resound is new. I mean, it's based on previous technology to where we know it's going to be reliable, it's going to be able to perform for you, but the technology has taken such a big leap. Can you tell us about the Savvy and what's new that our patients can enjoy as well?
Sure. So Savvy is that product that's going to, I like to think, give access to hearing to, essentially anyone in the population. We know
Yeah,
that hearing aids are not free. We've got to check on insurance and know all of those things and have
sure.
conversations with you guys about pricing. But sometimes we just want to know what our options are. And the Savvy products line is intended to ensure that everyone finds something that is for them,
Hmm.
and something that is comfortable for them. And Savi is actually on the same chip platform that Vivia is on. So we just
Okay.
continued everything on there. You're not going to have as many of the bells and whistles of like the AI feature,
Hmm.
but we've actually really updated that technology line to ensure that you are still getting some really good automatic features that will help ensure that you're getting a good listening experience. We
Yeah.
also have made sure that the microphone covers are involved there, that it's still a really super small hearing aid. You've still got
Yeah.
a rechargeable option. All the future for all that connectivity is built into Savi as well. So it really is one of these times where I can say we've got a little bit of something for everybody.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And I've in the past, I feel like sometimes when we look at devices that maybe aren't at the same level of the Vivia, sometimes you feel like you're giving up a few things. And like you said, it's built on the same platform. So even though we don't have some of that AI capability, there's so much customization that we can still do that we haven't been able to do in the past. We can still program them for so many individual needs and specific types of environments. I feel like you guys did a really great job. And then you checked off the boxes of what from a convenience and lifestyle scenario really matters to patients. Like they're still rechargeable, we still have some battery options there, and then we can connect to iPhones, Androids. I mean, I feel like it's still not only a great hearing solution, but it still checks off the boxes for everyone's different lifestyles and needs, so, and very
Absolutely.
customizable. So
Yep.
you guys did a great job.
I love it. It's a great time to be working at ReSound. I'll tell you, it's fun to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
nice, fun conversations and be really excited about. I mean, I've always been excited about the job, but it's really been a great time to
yeah.
share what all of this is like.
Yeah, this is great. And I appreciate everything that you've brought to help us with everything as well. Is there anything that you feel like we didn't touch on in our conversation so far that patients should know, or that you like to, whenever you're doing trainings and talking to different providers or patients, that you feel like they should know as we sort of wrap up our call today?
I really feel like we hit all of the highlights here.
Yeah,
We talked about like how it's going to help you hear better, how it's going to feel on your ears with that nice smaller size, and those really, we've got different sizes and like lengths of receivers, so you've got all of those options still.
yeah,
The wires, like how long they are, the rechargeable options, the non-rechargeable, your connectivity needs. I think we've really hit on it. I mean, this is going to
yeah,
sound very, very marketing, but we always want it to sound natural, feel natural, and connect naturally. Those are like the big three things, we like
yeah,
to put
yeah.
things in buckets, and we hit all of those.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Well, I really appreciate everything today. And for those watching, if you are watching for yourself or a loved one, or if you want to send this to a loved one that they can watch, we are happy to answer any questions. You can reach out to our office, whether it's through a phone call, whether it's through commenting, and whichever way that you're seeing this, and we're happy to answer any questions. So we hope that everyone hears our best, and hopefully this answered any questions that you might have had on the surface. But again, as you're processing more, feel free to reach out. And if you're interested in trying any of the technology, whether it's something as simple as an accessory or it's the new Vivia products or the Savi products, that's what we're here for. So give us a call and we're happy to get that set up for you. Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. I appreciate all your time today.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.